Former Pope Benedict has asked forgiveness for his handling of clergy sex abuse cases in the Catholic Church. However, Benedict denied any personal or specific wrongdoing. An independent report released in January said that Benedict had failed to act against clerics in 4 cases of alleged abuse during his time as Munich's archbishop between 1977 and 1982. His request for forgiveness was made in a letter published by the Vatican and read out by the former Pope's spokesperson.
I
can only express to all the victims of sexual abuse my profound shame, my deep sorrow, and my heartfelt request for forgiveness. I've had great responsibilities in the Catholic Church. All the greater is my pain for the abuses and the errors that occurred in those different places during the time of my mandate.
Let's go to Martin Gack, DW's religious affairs analyst in Berlin, for more on this story. So we've just heard that apology from the Pope, but he's not accepting responsibility for decades of alleged abuse and misconduct, as outlined in that independent report. Will that be enough for victims' families?
Well, I think it's very safe to say that no, that it will not be enough. And, I mean, if you look across the web, you already are seeing the reactions to what is considered to be just the usual approach of the church to new revelations. I mean, I think that victims groups had been essentially complaining about repeated apologies with very little progress in establishing new policies and basically reforms that can redress crimes committed and protect potential victims. And this really doesn't go anywhere near, fulfilling those needs and those demands.
Now, Benedict has also commented on accusations that he lied about participating in a meeting about transferring a priest alleged to have abused children here in Germany. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the report mentions at least 4 cases of what, in the press conference was referred to as misconduct by the former Pope or the emeritus Pope. So this is not something that obviously we can say much about, because it's something that is contained in a legal report and is essentially in the hands of a prosecutor's office. So I mean, this is something that the German justice that will have to decide. What is quite clear is that wittingly or unwittingly, the Pope Benedict did lie, or at least mischaracterize how much he knew about the cases in the report, particularly these 4 cases. And then once that the report was released and there was a rebuke of, the Pope saying that he knew nothing about this case, or that he had actually not been part of one meeting or another, then he was actually forced to retract those comments. So the fact is that there is now solid evidence that he failed to reveal something that he actually did know about these cases.
And with that in mind, if the Catholic Church is looking to win back public trust, what steps need to be taken to fully address abuses?
There's been, an increasing demand from victims groups, and I think that legal scholars and people, different groups among them, legal scholars and academics that had been sort of working through questions of church reform had been pointing to, which is making the reporting of suspicions or the reporting of crimes mandatory to national authorities. The church, of course, has resisted this, and there are still several veils of secrecy over the protocol, particularly at confessional level. So the confession is protected by secrecy. And these are things that I think at this point becomes quite clear that the church not being able to police itself would mean that national authorities would have to take, this kind of steps more seriously and into serious consideration.
Martin Gack, DW religious affairs analyst in Berlin, thanks so much for that analysis.